Hey guys, Speed here, and today I'm back with the top 5 most underrated heroes in Dota right now. I thought I'd share my thoughts on what I think are good heroes that aren't being experimented with. Now before we hop into the main content of this video, I just want to let you guys know that you can check out guides just like this one, made by top tier pros, and have over thousands of different options over at gameleap.com. Now, let's get into the main video. In the recent patches, there has been a lot of changes, as you all should know, and those changes I think have made quite a few heroes that were bad in the past just a lot better. First being Shadow Demon. Now, Shadow Demon is a hero that has a lot of potential in this patch simply because of the buffs that he's been getting. Recently, they changed Shadow Poison to only 35 mana at level 1, which actually makes him a decent laner. The problem in the past with Shadow Demon was that after he got his mana change on Shadow Poison from 35 to 50, quite a while back, he just really struggled to lane. It costed way too much mana, and it just wasn't efficient. You couldn't trade properly unless you bought multiple mangoes. But now they've changed it back. It does scale up to 50 at level 4, but that's really not to worry about. What's important is that with one clarity, you can basically spam Shadow Poison, especially to zone a solo offlaner. In addition, I think Shadow Demon's W is one of the most broken spells in Dota if you can get to the point where it's effective. Now the problem with Shadow Demon is that you do need a lot of levels. Your skills are all so good that if you can get to the point where you're a high level, I think this hero is very effective, and for that I would recommend it as a 4 more than a 5, because you want to greed out a little bit on this hero. It's very important that if you're maxing Shadow Poison, you're making stacks, else you're going to fall behind and really not get enough levels needed to really make this hero effective, because your W at max level reduces enemy heroes' HP by 40%, and if they BKB, they just flat out lose the HP. Like, it doesn't really make any sense. It's a weird interaction. You think if you BKB and purge it, they should get it all back. However, this is not the case. You just lose 40% of your HP. Heroes like Dragonite, Pudge, Mars, any of these strength heroes that really need the HP get absolutely dumpstered by Shadow Demon. Finally, what I want to say about Shadow Demon is that he has a save. Now, what a lot of heroes and supports don't have is just a disrupt, right? He has a disruption. A hero like Chen or Rubik, they just don't have these capabilities, and I think in pubs, one little save can change the turn of a fight because people are often very out of position. I think you all could agree with me on that. Your cores often just step up way too far, and there's not much you can do about it. They get axe called, they get doomed, anything. If you have a disruption, you can save them for 2 or 3 seconds, approximately, and actually win a fight. Like, it's incredible how often this spell is useful in solo queue. I used to spam Shadow Demon from around 3k to 5k when I was playing support a ton, and I found that this hero was great for either making plays on the map alone with Shadow Poison or saving your teammates when they're out of position. So I think it has a lot of nice avenues that are both make it a underrated hero that people should try out, but also just a great hero for solo queue. Alright, at number 2 we have Stalker. Now, in my opinion, this is probably the best hero on this list right now. I think this hero is actually one of the best in Dota right now. I think he's easily an A tier hero on my tier list simply because what he does in the game is just unmatched, and it has been for the longest time. However, a lot of nerfs prevented him from being the menace he was in the nighttime. However, the hero has received so many buffs consistently throughout the recent patches, to the point where I think the hero is very, very viable. His ultimate gives unobstructed vision and damage, but what's more important is the unobstructed vision part. You literally get the old Stalker agonyms in a large radius, but you can use it whenever you want. All of a sudden, when a team thinks it's daytime and it's safe for them to push, you just drop your ult, you see everyone, and it's an easy team wipe. In addition, your silence is one of the best spells in the game, and I am sure of this. And AoE silence is better than you would think. The reason why it's so good is because it provides utility that no other silence does. If they use or manta dodge, they can't cast a spell afterwards. The only thing that really gets you out is a Force Staff, but only temporarily, right? You can just chase them down, or a BKB. Any of the other items that typically purge silence just don't work. It's really insane against heroes such as Ember Spirit, or any of the slippy ones such as Storm, who might typically buy a purge in the early game to deal with this silence issue. However, Stalker having a AoE just completely counters everything about this. In addition, you're actually quite tanky in lane. You have very high HP regen, you have pretty good stats. The only problem is you can't really use any spells in lane. All your spells are basically useless, so how I would recommend playing this hero is in the position 3 role or mid. You can get away with both, as long as you are very diligent in the nighttime and making plays. I think this hero is absolutely incredible. Next up on the list is easily my favorite hero. Now, Night Stalker was the one I think is the best, but this is one that I really personally hope we see back in the meta, and it's Alchemist. Now, I know a lot of people really hate playing against Alchemist, even playing with Alchemist in a lot of situations because of how greedy and potentially just game griefy the hero is based on what its ideas, right? It's just a farming hero. However, I do say however a lot, I apologize guys, but the point is that Alchemist has become a lot better in my opinion because of a lot of the lane dominating mids that were very popular and could be a problem for Alchemist are no longer as strong. However, there's still heroes such as Monkey King and Ember Spirit that do quite well against you, maybe even Timbersaw, but the point is a lot of people are picking their mids early, which means that you'll know your matchup. They're picking heroes like Viper, where they just want to farm, or they're picking roaming heroes such as Bounty and Pangolier, which will most likely do well in lane. For this reason, I think Alch is quite good in this meta. Now, this doesn't mean this is applicable for all MMRs. Like in certain pubs, I don't know exactly what people pick from, like 3k to 4k or 4k to 5k. I'm not too familiar, so you guys would know best in that sense. But what's important to note, and what I know about the low MMRs, is that people are less apt to pressure, meaning they don't pressure as hard in lane. This is something I've observed from coaching in this bracket quite a bit. The lanes are not pressured, people don't pressure the map as well, and a hero like Alch thrives in this environment. Anytime there's low pressure on the map, and Alch can just farm and make stacks and hit a 12-minute radiance timing, and then like a 15-minute or 17-minute manta timing, or even just a blink, you can roam around the map, be so much stronger than everyone else, and you've been buffed recently in the patches, and for that, I think Alchemist is a very, very underrated solo queue hero. If you are unfamiliar with how to play him, just watch a guide, and you will easily be able to stomp games, in my opinion, on Alchemist. Alright, next up on the list is Necro. Now, this is one I'm actually not too sure about, to be perfectly honest. I think the hero has a lot of potential around the items that he can build. I think Holy Locket is very good on the hero. I think Radiance is very good. I think he has some just solid options where you can either go a Dagon build, a Radiance build, or a tank build. It's very versatile in that sense, and that's why I'm a big fan of the hero. You can put him in pretty much any lane. I wouldn't say any role. Definitely don't play him as a support. I used to see a ton of them. When I was Limmermar, I would see a lot of position 4 and 5 Necros. For whatever reason, people seem to think it's a good support. It's not, so don't do that. But back to the point, Necro has one of the most stable laning stages in any hero in Dota. It's a sustained hero that will most likely not lose its lane, which is great in solo queue, right? You can pick it early. If your teammates are not willing to pick their mid lane, their safe lane, their off lane, it doesn't matter. You can just pick Necro, and you're going to have impact pretty much no matter what, right? There are some counters such as AA or Pugna, but even against those heroes, if you build the right items, which is why Necro is so great, you can play around it. In addition, I think people have actually slowly started to forget how to play against Necro. When he was so popular, there was a lot of people that just knew exactly what to do against Necro, right? There was counters in mind and playstyles that you could pretty much use, such as Glimmer Capes, Force Staffs, Pipes. A lot of these things people would be more heads up about buying against Necro, but now that the hero has fallen out of meta, I think people are going to be a lot more lazy in your solo queue games, and this isn't something that necessarily makes the hero good, but just makes the state of the game good for the hero. I think any hero that has been dead for a while has a slight advantage in the sense that the knowledge on the hero has either been forgotten or is limited. And last on my list, a hero that recently got buffed, changing her Q from 105 mana at level 1 to 85 mana, is Death Prophet. That buff in particular really helped the hero in lane. You can secure a lot more CS a lot more often, and you won't have to invest in much into regen, especially mana regen. For a hero like Death Prophet, this is huge because you could often have issues balancing harass and farm, and a buff like this really changes the laning stage. In addition, as I said, a lot of the lane dominators that could pose real issues for a hero like Death Prophet, such as Brood or Huskar, have fallen out of favor. What this means is you're going to have a reliably decent laning stage in the majority of games. Even a hero like Kunkka, who could deny all your creeps, is just completely phased out in that sense. Changes like this I really think pseudo benefit a hero like Death Prophet, and the tempo of the game currently is very structured around 5-manning. At least that's what I've noticed, and that's what I think works best. So a hero like Death Prophet is perfect, right? You have one of the best pushing ultimates in the game, you're one of the most sustainable heroes in the game, and you have quite a reliable laning stage, right? You don't really get crushed by many heroes, and a lot of ones you did get crushed by have gotten significantly nerfed. In addition, as I've talked about, like Necro, I genuinely think people have completely forgotten what Death Prophet does. To be honest, I don't even really understand how much this hero does. In certain games, when I play against it, it just shreds me, and I'm like, I really am just mind blown, because I've totally forgotten how much damage Death Prophet actually does. And I honestly think if you just push a tower with a level 1, level 2 ultimate, and people approach you and don't respect your damage, you're going to wipe them, take their tower, and completely throw the pace of the game in your favor. Alright, thank you guys for watching this video about top underrated heroes. I definitely think these heroes are super valuable. If you want to get ahead of the meta, definitely start trying these out. I'm 100% sure Night Stalker and Alch are great in a lot of games. These two in particular are my top picks. However, I'd like to know if you guys think there are underrated heroes that I've forgotten, because, you know, Dota's a very complex game. There's a ton of heroes that have been phased out of the meta, but for this reason can be quite good at catching people off guard. So thank you guys for watching. If you enjoyed, please do like and subscribe to help the channel grow, and I'll see you guys in the next episode. Peace.